AITAH for refusing to give my seat to an old woman on the bus? I-19F was on the bus a few days ago and it was particularly crowded. Some people couldn't even get on because of how crowded it was. I got on the bus at the first stop, so I managed to get a seat when there were fewer people on the bus. At some point, I noticed a woman that was around 70 staring at me and giving me a bad look. At first I did not really understand because I did not know the woman and didn't understand what I had done for her to look at me like that. I saw sighing and shaking her head while looking at me multiple times, but decided to ignore it as I still didn't know what the problem was. After a while, I started to hear her complain to a man next to her, saying things like "young people these days," and ranting about how we just didn't respect our elders anymore. She talked about how impolite we were, and although she never said that she was talking about me, she was looking directly at me. She probably thought that I couldn't hear her because I had earphones in, but I wasn't listening to any music. I often do that because many times I have had weird men talking to me on the bus, and that way I could pretend that I didn't hear them. So I heard everything she said. I decided to ignore her again because I thought that until she decided to speak to me directly, this wasn't my problem. For context, the reason why I didn't give her the seat in the first place was because I literally couldn't. I have a condition that has caused me to faint more and more these past few days, to the point that I can't stand up without moving for more than 5 minutes before collapsing. It is even worse in crowds and in the heat. That day I was coming back from the hospital where the doctor told me that it was dangerous for me to be standing up because every time I faint my heart slows down and it could stop the next time it happens. So basically I could die if I was up for too long. After maybe 5 minutes, she turned to me and said, "So you really aren't going to give me your seat?" I looked up and smiled at her, and politely said something like, "I'm sorry, I have a medical condition, I can't give you my seat." I thought that was the end of it, but she then started saying that I was selfish, that I was young and in perfectly good health, and that my parents didn't raise me properly. Everyone on the bus was looking at us at that point. A man intervened and said that I should have given her my seat as soon as she got on the bus and she shouldn't even have to ask for it. I once again replied that I couldn't. He said that it was also dangerous for the woman to stand up for too long, and that she had a right to that seat. I was starting to get angry and replied that I didn't know anyone any details about my personal life, but that I could basically die if I gave her my seat, and that while I do respect other people, I will not put my life at risk for anyone. I also said that even if I could give her my seat, the way she acted and talked to me would have convinced me not to. A lot of people started saying that I should just get up and stop creating a problem where there shouldn't be one, and that's when I snapped. I told them that there were many other seats, and if they were so concerned for the lady, they could get their ass up and give her their seat. I wasn't really screaming, but I wasn't calm either. A man finally stood up and gave her his seat while shaking his head and saying something about how the young generation has lost all respect. I got nasty looks for the rest of the ride, and many people were saying that I was disrespectful. When I talked about it to my parents, they said that I was right to not give her my seat, but I shouldn't have talked back and should have stayed polite. I honestly don't see what I did wrong there. I know that a lot of people think that you should respect your elders no matter what, but to me respect is earned, and if you are rude to me, I have no reason to stay polite with you. Please tell me what you think, AITAH.